Hi, I'm going to explain the code as well as how it meets some of the requirements. Firstly, we start at the main.py, at the main function where you initialize a street scene and then you run the run function within the street scene. The run function within the street scene has a loop where the first function goes through a bunch of Pygame events. This is basically just mouse and keyboard events that it's checking for. And then it also has a second function which just draws the scene and keeps on drawing. It does this by going through a list of models and then drawing the models. If you scroll down, you can see keyboard and mouse events, and mouse we use mouse in this project to control the camera, where you can scroll in and out to go forward and backward, and you can press and drag to tilt and rotate. Now we're going to go through the actual street scene. This is my street scene where we have a sun, a bunch of buildings, 2 cars and a lamppost, and the actual road and some grass. And this is within the skybox, and it's a bit laggy on this, but you can zoom out and see the actual skybox and everything. Now I'm going to explain the requirements and how it meets the requirements. The first requirement was translation, which is actually done on all of these objects here. If you go to the code, you can see, for example, in this house here, it goes through a translation matrix of -2, -4, 0, where the house moves a bit up and to the left, and all the other objects also goes through a translation matrix here. If you look at the code here, the second requirement was rotation, which is actually done on this car here to make sure it faces the right way. And you can see this in the code here for car 2, that there's a rotation matrix around y-axis which is applied, where it rotates the car by 90 degrees. Third requirement was local illumination, which is done by the street lamp, where it lights up this house and all of this area, and it produces shadow behind the houses. There is also a sun which is here, which is what's stopping these cars from having shadows and produces shadows there. And then the next requirement would be environment mapping, which is done on this car here, where you can see the sky being reflected and the green grass also being reflected here as well. And then the final requirement was texture mapping, which is actually done on the grass here, where this is just a normal object where we put on a BMP file of grass, a picture of a grass on this object. And then that's basically my street scene. Now I'm going to go through maybe some of the classes I missed out. There is the mesh.py, which basically just has a bunch of mesh data where it contains vertices, faces, and normals for each of the vertices. And then there's also mat utils, which has all the translation, rotation, and scale matrix. There's also other function that's used here, like shadow mapping and all that, which helps with creating shadows. And there's more functions like camera, which controls the camera, and there's light source, which maintains the light source in the scene, and there's a bunch of other classes which help out to run the scene, the street scene.